qu'on allait prendre la route de l'aventure? Ah, monsieur le président, un pauvre qui vote pour celui qui l'a rendu pauvre. Si on était bien au pays, est-ce qu'on allait prendre la route de l'étranger? Ah, monsieur le président, à l'Assemblée, il y a un Dieu. Vraiment. Au Sénat, il y a un Dieu. Wonderful. À la présidence, il y a un Dieu. Dans tout le gouvernement, il n'y a que des vieux, des vieux, des vieux. Des jeunes prennent le chemin de la Libye pour devenir des esclaves. Des jeunes prennent la route du désert pour entrer en Europe. Hi, good day to the beautiful people of the Cameroons, the beautiful people of British Cameroon, and the beautiful people of La République du Cameroon. This is a party political broadcast by myself, Maître Mola Alex Ndive Lisinge, the leader of British Cameroon National Party. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, mommy and papa, every time I come to scrutinize and hold the government to account because we have a non-functional opposition in the Cameroons. The role of an opposition political party is to scrutinize and hold the government to account. In a layman's term, to criticize them, to look what they are not doing right and be talking about it, and to give alternative policies. The reason our country have gone backwards and the law of diminishing marginal return is facing the country is because nobody cares to challenge the government. Nobody seems to stand on a daily basis and challenge the government. When I come and talk on this party political broadcast, it is nothing personal. We have laws in the Cameroons. We have constitution. We have penal code and other laws. But the government does not respect the law. Civil servants, they don't respect the law. Police, they don't respect the law. Civilians, they don't respect the law. And there is no opposition to challenge them because maybe most of them, they don't even know or understand the laws of the Cameroons. Ladies and gentlemen, today, I want to ask this question. Why do you think most people who are benefiting from chop people their money, government, why do you think they still want Mr. Beer and the CNU rebranded CPDM? They want it to continue. Why? Why? Don't we have alternative? Why is everyone saying that CPDM that have been in power for more than 60 years? You know, their name used to be CNU. They changed it to CPDM. My name is Alex. If I change it tomorrow to Michael, it's still the same person. So that's what I'm trying to tell you. So forget about the chop people, the money, the name that they change. It's still the same political party since the so-called independence. So, ladies and gentlemen, whenever there is an election in a democratic country, we see people, they come and have debates about the economy, about health, housing, taxation, transport, and other things. Unfortunately, we live in a country where the standards are so low and most people are morally bankrupt. They are afraid to come and debate. They are afraid to come and talk about policies. They can't talk. Let me tell you the truth, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Maître Mola Alex Ndive Lisinge. Give me one presidential candidate in the Cameroons to come and stand and have a debate with me. They don't know anything. If you don't know anything, you want to go and be a president, how can you change a country? How can you go and change a country? Most of them, I will shock them, I will surprise them with things that they don't know about the Cameroons. Example, I will tell you a simple one, which I've been talking about it, maybe some of them they know now. The Constitution of CDC says all the products of CDC, they must export it. And if you are a country that you only have to be exporting something, you can never develop. You have to manufacture your things. By manufacturing your products, what happens? You create jobs. A lot of them only want to export it. That's the same like what was happening in Rio dos Cameroons. The Portuguese slave sugar plantation. They were working the farms and they were exporting things to Europe. That's the same thing. That's what's happening. Instead of these people, even if they don't have the technology, they should tell all these companies, come and manufacture the products in Cameroon. We are not going to export it. It will create jobs. But these people, they hate our people so much that they want them to die in poverty. We have oceans, but we cannot drink water. So the question is, why is it that some people still want the CPDM to be in power? Why? Some people, we know them. Ladies and gentlemen, how do you want a party like the chop people their money to remain in power, despite the fact that Transparency International have once labeled them as the most corrupt government on earth? So, is that the reason that you want them to remain or to stay in power? Ladies and gentlemen, 49.5% of our children in the Cameroon, they live in multi-dimensional poverty. That is, they are being deprived in area of like health, education, and standard of living. 43% of women under the CPDM government between the age of 15 and 49 are experiencing physical and sexual violence under the CPDM. Yet you people want the CPDM to continue to stay in power. Half of our female population lives below poverty line in the Cameroons under the chop people their money CPDM. Ladies and gentlemen, so when people go about and still campaigning that the same people should stay in power, ladies and gentlemen, in the Cameroons, we don't have one single motorway. A motorway is different from just these ordinary roads that we have in Cameroon. That's not a motorway. Ladies and gentlemen, if you look in Gaza, they have been fighting wars from time immemorial. Gaza in Palestine, they have a motorway, but we don't have motorway in the Cameroons. We don't have motorway. Ladies and gentlemen, the first tar road in United Kingdom was in 1902. First tar road. There was less technology then, but today we are still struggling to have roads. If you go to Bamenda, where people like Young Philemon have been there, Achiti Achu, all those people there, you go to Bamenda, I speak to my people there, their roads are so horrible. Not only that, I'm just giving an example. If you go to Northwest region, and when the time comes, you see people like Young Philemon, Atanganji, they will be the one raising. I'll tell you, the Northwest region always raise one of the highest money during presidential election. They raise the highest money for campaign. It comes from Northwest region. Go and check it. I'm not making it up. But we don't have roads there. are no roads. And the constitution of the Cameroon says the natural resources are going to be distributed to each individual citizen. It's in the constitution of La République du Cameroon. Ladies and gentlemen, the first electricity in the United Kingdom, first electricity was in 1878. In 2025, under the CPDM, we are still struggling to have electricity. Every day in Yaoundé, their capital, there is no electricity. Ladies and gentlemen, what is the CNU rebranded CPDM doing in power? Ladies and gentlemen, the first domestic or pipe-borne water in the United Kingdom was what? In 1600. Ladies and gentlemen, we are still struggling in 2025 to have pipe-borne water in the Cameroons. I heard people dig, they call it borehole. Is it? Well, when I was growing up, it was not that common. It means the government have abandoned you. Atanganji have abandoned you. Grigwa Owona have abandoned you. Ayolo have abandoned you. President Paul Biya have abandoned you. The chop people, their money have abandoned you. The non-functional opposition have abandoned you. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the truth. The first underground train that goes under the ground in the United Kingdom was first constructed in 1863, ladies and gentlemen. 1863. There was no modern technology. Today we have modern technology. We cannot even make road tar. We don't need to import the tar from abroad. We cannot do it. Ladies and gentlemen, then some people call themselves a government. What are they doing there? Ladies and gentlemen, I'll tell you why those who are supporting the CNU rebranded CPDM to continue to stay in power, why they are doing so. Do you know why? Because most of the people supporting the CNU rebranded CPDM, they are criminals, they are thieves, embezzler, corrupt people, immoral people. I'll tell you why. If you look at the penal code of the Cameroons, the penal code says bribery is a criminal offense in the Cameroon. Have you ever given somebody bribe? It means you're a criminal. Because you have not been caught doesn't mean that you're not a criminal. If we're living in a country where they were respecting the rule of law, maybe you would have been in prison. Bribery is a criminal offense. Corruption in the penal code in the Cameroon is a criminal offense. You can go to prison for there. Is it 12 to whatever, how many years sentences? So let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not making it up. And I'm not insulting any person. If you give somebody a bribe, it's a criminal offense in Cameroon. If you're corrupt, you misappropriate public fund, you're corrupt. So all of you who have been stealing land, selling land, doing all those illegal things, you are a criminal. Because in the Cameroons, the people who are the judges, the people who should stand for court, they are criminals. The people who are stealing, committing all those frauds. Yeah? Is it 40% in Ministry of Finance? 40% in this? It's criminality. Read your law. Because you have not been caught doesn't mean you're not a criminal. So, ladies and gentlemen, in a country where violence against our women and children is so high, in a country where we don't have roads, in a country where we have 14th century hospital and those in government, they come abroad for treatment. In a country where the administrators, they are there to feed fat rather than to fix the country. Ladies and gentlemen, it's no miracle to fix the country. The truth is, the so-called independent, they killed Ernest Wanji, Felix Mumi, Nyombe, sent some people into exile, like the Tumazam and the rest. They killed those people. Aijo, France, and the gang, all those CNU, CPDM gang. They killed them, the real people who would have taken control and developed that country. And they put their puppets there. That is why slavery is still continuing in the Cameroons. Have you ever seen an independent where you go and exchange flag? No. When the people of America, United States, they declare independence, Britain did not go there and put the flag down, British flag, and put it. They said, go, we don't want to talk to you. That's independent. So all those things we say in Africa that is independent, it's not independent. If I want my independence, I kick you out of my country and you go away, I don't even talk with you, and I draft my constitution. But if the so-called colonial master, you say you don't want them, you fight them, then they come, okay, let's remove your flag, you put your flag. That's not independent. They negotiated that, okay, you can stay in power, you can be corrupt, you can kill your people, you can do what you want to do. We'll be talking outside, but we are behind you. Ladies and gentlemen, Africa have never been independent. We talk about territorial integrity, sovereignty in Cameroon. When Cameroon have got joint sovereignty with countries in CEMAC, Cameroon is not an independent country like Republic. It's not independent. When you have joint sovereignty with other countries, you have to make decision, economic decision together. You have to decide on everything together. That is not independent. United Kingdom came out from European Union because they wanted to be independent. They were not independent in the European Union. And when you enter inside the European Union, you have joint sovereignty. So people should stop talking about the Cameroons being independent. You are not independent. You can go Google and read scholastic some writings from great scholar. You can Google, read about CEMAC, about all those things. Then France is controlling it. We sit in the Cameroons. We say we have a minister of commerce, not commerce, minister of economic and finance. He is not a minister of economic and finance. He cannot decide on the monetary policy. He cannot decide on our interest rate. If they want to devalue the money of France CFA, he hasn't got the power. It's France. So your minister, window dressing exercise, remove the minister of finance and economy in the Cameroon. It's a useless post. You're just there to eat money because you don't do the job of a minister of economic and finance. You don't do it. It's France that does it. You're just there for window dressing exercise. Ladies and gentlemen, my question was, how come that people want a government that is working against the interests of the people to continue to sit there and be destroying our countries? How long? The opposition is not better because they are not telling you the truth. Any opposition leader today, you replace Mr. Biya, nothing will change because they don't talk like myself. In order to be independent, we have to kick France out. We have to stop using France CFA. We have to make sure we come out from CEMAC. Then we recognize the two countries that came together. Then we go back to the drawing board. We call a constituent assembly. We bring all the ethnicities in that land. Let them decide. Let them draft a constitution. And if we want, we recognize the two countries that came together first. Because that country was not constructed under the people of the Cameroons, as they call them. We were never asked. When I mean we, as tribes, because they come and say, La République du Cameroun, British Cameroon. There was the two alternatives. Two alternatives is what? If you want to create a country, you have to start by speaking to all the ethnicity. They signed small young treaty. Back where they signed with Mayangi, they signed Bali, Nkambe, Wum. I agreed to join this country. I agreed. That's how you create a country. That's how Germany was created. That's how Italy was created. That's how United Kingdom was created. People cannot just join ethnicities together and say, oh, it is the Cameroons. No. People create country based on consent. That's why we will continue to have this problem until we go. It's not only the Anglophone problem. We have deeper problems. This country was an artificial country created by foreigners. Yes, we want to recognize the two countries that came together. And we have to go deep by look into all the ethnicity so they should accept, and we draft a constitution that will be equal, that will favor all the ethnicities. That's the only way. If even today we recognize the two countries that came together, we'll still have this ethnic problem. All the ethnicity, they must be autonomous. Ladies and gentlemen, nobody will come and say what I'm saying. No opposition political party, nobody in government will come and say what I'm saying. Because if you build a house on lies, that house will sink. There is no political party in the Cameroon that have diagnosed the problem in the Cameroons like British Cameroon National Party. Ladies and gentlemen, I've talked about this. I've talked about, look clearly. How do people think they will defeat the CNU rebranded CPDM? If you look at their record, their report card, these people are evil. People will be walking on mud, struggling, no light, no electricity. They still put on this uniform. They take taxpayers' money and sew CNU, CPDM uniform. They take taxpayers' money and make propaganda in CRTV. They take taxpayers' money. They buy 4x4 cars without asking the taxpayers' consent. The customs in the Cameroons are criminals. They are civil servants. You see the money that they have, the houses that they have, you don't know. These are the people who want CNU rebranded CPDM to continue to stay in power. Because they receive bribe. Ill-gotten wealth. When British Cameroon National Party comes to power, they call it unjust enrichment. Who seize all those things? If you cannot explain where you got those things, who seize it? It belongs to the taxpayer. So, ladies and gentlemen, this has been a party political broadcast by myself, Maitre Mola Alex Ndive Lisinge, the leader of British Cameroon National Party. Have a great day. Docteur, tout Joseph, professeur à Los Angeles.